is Real Disciple Podcast 10. We've got 10 is a big number. 10 is a special number, and so we've got special people here with us. We've got Adrian and Tara here, and the reason why we put this on is because we are in that. I keep wanting to say honeymoon. We're not in a honeymoon. We're in Valentine's. That's it. We're in that Valentine's flavor, and so we thought, let's get a married couple on here. Been married. How long?
5.5 years.
5.5 years, and you've known each other 15 years.
Yeah.
And so, see what good pastor I am. I know that. And so, so let's just start with you, Adrian. How did you get saved?
All right. So I grew up in a house where both my parents were saved.
Yep.
But I wasn't saved. Our relationship was a bit torn because of that. Growing up, I did total opposite outside the house, but inside, it would always, because I had respect, I would act accordingly. Until about 16, I got my first car, and that was it. I was just like, boom, I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And it kind of got progressively worse. So I'll go from, coming in late and coming church here and there still, to like just not coming home for like a couple days and doing what I'm doing, trying to get money this way, just living how I wanted to live. To the point I didn't really want to go home because it was just too. I look back now and I suppose it was too convicting, because in my head I was thinking, look, to me, it was perfection what I saw, and I was like, I couldn't live up to that. And it wasn't perfection, but it was just the fact that my parents were saved and I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was just a stone cold sinner, just teenager. So that was that until 2009. I must have seen two of my friends one strange night, like 3 a.m, Kenny and Carl. We bucked up with each other. We spoke, and it was like, oh, where you lot going? There was like, whatever. We got speaking. And then they started talking about church. And I was like, what? You man go church? I was like, that don't even make sense. I've known Carl since I was a child, and I met Kenny a few years prior to that. And we've never discussed any church-based anything.
And so let's just home in on this, because you are a church kid.
Yeah.
So when it comes to church, you should know.
Definitely.
And so you've grown up in church. You're a church kid, but at this level, you're not living a church life. You're unsaved. You're a little part-time rebel, basically. And so then they say they're going to church. You're like, huh?
Yeah. At this time, I hadn't been to church in about 4 years.
Okay.
Like I was just.
So you're gone. So, but you know all of the churchianity.
Yeah.
Type of things. So then when they say they're going to church, your mind is like,
I just thought it was weird. Like, I probably thought it was weird. And then there was like, but when they started speaking to me about church in a positive light, and I was like, if I spoke about church, I'd be like, blood, I got church tomorrow. Or blood, I gotta go church. Or if I spoke about church, it would be, I'm going for a christening. Or I'm going to a funeral. There would not be, I want to go church. Why wouldn't I want to go to church? Yeah. I've grown up in church.
Yeah.
There's nothing about me that I wanted to go to church.
Yeah.
They didn't invite me, but because they were speaking about it in a positive way, I thought something good there, or there's something why they're going there. I ended up going after. I think we all went to like roller disco and then went church after. Or we was meant to go roller disco, but church was before, and then we went there after.
Yeah.
And from there, I've been going. A few weeks later, I went church by myself. They were already there. And as I walked in, the pastor had just stopped. As I opened the door, the pastor said, look, I don't know, but God's telling me that someone needs these things. And he sounded like they had told him my life. And it spoke directly to me. I just felt like I felt hot. I felt a pull. I sat down. I was vexed. I thought they spoke to him. And I gave my life to God, and haven't looked back since.
Very good. And that would have been when?
April 2009.
April 2009.
Yeah.
Okay. So at this point in your life, you've got a girlfriend.
Yep.
And her name is Tara. Yep. Who now is your wife, obviously.
Yep.
And so you've got saved now. Had you already told her about church or not yet?
Yeah, I told her as soon as I started going.
Okay, and so let's say over to Tara now. So he's come back from church.
Yeah.
And or he's gone to church, or he starts to tell you about church. What's your first feeling about this?
Well, it wasn't like a normal, oh, come church with me. Obviously, we were together for 6 years, and I got a text message saying, I don't want to drag you to hell anymore. So we're not going to sleep together anymore, and it's done. And I was like,
righteous.
In my head, I was like, righteous. I was like, oh, you're a joker. Because we go to church some Sundays with your parents.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't make sense to me. And actually, maybe a couple of weeks before that, he was inviting me to church. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll come. And then he'd come to my house and I'd be like, oh, I'm not coming. Because like him, my mum was in church. I've grown up in church where they have baptisms in the white and stuff like that, like a very Jamaican church. So I knew about church.
Yeah.
So I wasn't interested. But when he messaged me that message,
Yeah.
I was like, this doesn't make sense. Why? What do you mean we're not going to be sleeping together anymore? This doesn't make sense. So as soon as he said that, the Sunday, was it the next Sunday?
Maybe a couple Sundays after.
Maybe a couple Sundays after that, I came.
Okay.
Because not because I wanted to get saved, I just wanted to see this place that he was always at. We weren't spending much time with each other anymore, and he weren't coming anywhere near me. So I
Okay.
was just like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So when he brought me, I can remember it as if it was yesterday. I walked in and I think we were late. Yeah, we were late. And it was praise and worship. And when I heard the praise and worship and saw this one woman on the keyboard, I was like, nah, where's he brought me?
The beatbox machine.
No, I don't think we had one then.
Oh, yeah. No.
We
there
did
was-
have
we-
one.
we was al-
Did
always-
we?
did, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I just walked in and I was like, this ain't the kind of church I'm trying to be in. Like, what kind of madness?
There would have been probably only about
I remember
20
Caroline.
at max.
I don't even think there
so
was 20 people
on
there.
Sundays, there's about 23
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Max.
Wednesdays, about 17. I
Yeah.
just remember them numbers.
Yeah.
So I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to coming into a small church because where my mum had gone, it was massive and they had like different branches and stuff like that. And when I walked in and saw the praise and worship team, and because I sing, I was just like, where has he brought me? Like, what is this? And then after praise and worship, you came out and I had like a sigh of relief. And I was like, oh, there's someone that looks like me. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So I remember you started preaching and I started to get angry. Like what you were saying, I started to get hot because like what he said, everything that you were saying, that was me. And I was like, oh my days, he's told his pastor about me. Is he mad? And now the pastor's preaching on the pulpit about me because they want me to come to the church. I know, big head. And I was like, honestly, I'm from Peckham, I was ready to fight. I was like, all right, wait, Adrian, until we get outside. Wait. And when, you know, at the altar call or whatever, and it was like, just put your hand up. In my head, I'm stubborn, so I'm like, I'm not putting my hand up. But it's almost like I just felt my hand moving. Like, you know when your body's doing something you don't want it to do? And yeah, I got saved in June. No, was it June?
About that.
May or June 2009.
So you got saved in
April.
and you got saved in
May or June.
okay, so month after.
Month, 2 months, yeah.
And how old was you then?
20.
You was 20 when you got saved. My days. And you was
19.
19. Okay. And so now you're saved.
Yeah.
You're coming to church. You've already from the get-go have established a certain righteousness.
Yeah.
From a perspective of this relationship with this woman that you're involved in. And so now that you're saved, did you understand? Did you already know these are moral issues?
Yeah, 100%.
Because you grew up in church.
Yeah.
So you kind of knew, okay.
Do you know what it was for me? Let me just interject. Coming to a church of a small capacity,
Yeah.
I come from a church which is big conferences,
Yeah.
whatever. But you could just go around. As something's big, there's loopholes and you can get away. As you said, we went to church sometimes with my parents.
Yeah.
In this church, it was like, there's 23 people. Everything's exposed.
Yeah, you can't hide.
You can't hide. So for me, it was like, it's a new beginning.
Yeah. That's the
So,
blessing of
Yeah.
coming to us. There's pros and cons. Like you
Yeah.
said, the praise and worship wasn't what it is
It
now.
wasn't.
Yeah.
And I just, something in me, I knew like people that can sing, but there was something in me that thought, look, this is genuine.
Yeah.
Let me give it a go. It was
Yeah.
my chance to start again because I knew that being with Tara when I was younger was wrong.
Yeah.
but nothing there. There was nothing there that was just.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But this was my chance to like feel, let me just go for it.
Okay. All right. And so you guys come and you get saved.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you start to realize, all right, let's put this on pause, that we can basically focus on Jesus?
Yeah. I think for me, I don't think it was that. It wasn't a big gap. I'm sure it was between like 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, because when did I send you the text?
That was before I came to church.
Okay.
So I think when I came to the church, obviously, I was kind of overwhelmed because everybody was so nice, and it was almost like I came in with my attitude, and I was like, why are they being nice to me? Like, I came with my game face. And obviously I got close with Joanna, and I was always at Joanna's house, and because the church was so small, we were always together.
Yeah.
And I think because I was surrounded by godly people all the time, it wasn't just running joke. We used to have Bible study in Joanna's house, and we go to Spurs and stuff like that. That I can't put my finger on it, but I remember I woke up one morning, and me and Adrian spoke in the morning before church, and we was like, right, we're going to go and speak to Pastor. And I don't know what it was for you, but for me, it was almost like, okay, I just want to strip everything off and do it right. So let's just strip everything off. To be honest, we can't sleep together. We can't do these things. So what's the point of even being together anymore? Like, there's got to be something bigger than this. And we're hearing preaching on a Sunday. We're seeing the way people are changing. And I was like, no, I've got to give this my all, or I'm not going to do it at all.
Okay.
And I think it was after 3 months where we decided, like, all right, let's go and speak to Pastor and let's just end it.
I think for me, I didn't tell you that she was my girlfriend.
Okay.
Because I remember you coming up to me like, bro, Carl said, my girl's your lady. I was like,
Is that what I said?
Yeah. And I was like,
See, we said last episode, Carl's the grass.
yeah, he is definitely, because I remember there's this quote that was going on in church that was saying,
There's no snitches in the
no
kingdom.
snitching in the kingdom. And I was
Yeah,
like,
that
that's
was
definitely
one
a
of them.
snitch. What kind of
Yeah.
joke man is that? But yeah, you came up to me and you was like, boy, this was good. I said, well, no, I said we broke up anyway. And you was like, well, there needs to be a period of separation. Like, do you still? I was like, yeah, we roll together, we speak or whatever, but we're not together. And you were saying the process, like, if you really want her, well, here's a process. You need to separate for a period.
Yeah.
See if you do want her after that period. Get to know her again, date, and the object of that is to get married. Here's the scripture. And I had time to think about it. In my head, I was like, I ain't getting married till I'm like 40. Realistically, I didn't want to get married. I just wanted to, I don't know what I wanted. I just know I didn't want to get married.
It's weird when you hear someone else's perception, because in my head, I never knew about this conversation. So I literally thought, like, I came to my own conclusion about it, and I came and sat down and I was like, yeah, Adrian, I think we should speak to Pastor. That's so weird when you hear it.
Yeah, I remember coming to, because I remember seeing you guys come together, like you do. You see a guy and a girl coming in the church, and you're assuming that if they've got saved, that probably they're living, they're just doing their own thing. And then, you kind of give people a breathing. You can't pounce on them. You got to let them come to a certain revelation of things. That you got to be sensitive to that. It could be too long or too short, but I let people work that out in their own minds. But I remember looking at things and seeing people come in and saying, well, the problem many times when people come in and have a relationship, they've started that relationship on the wrong foundation.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And if we just can't, so if you imagine that foundation is lopsided, if we just keep building, eventually it's going to fall over.
Yeah, 100.
And things come out later on that you wish you had dealt with way
Early
down the
stages,
line,
yeah.
early stages. And so from the perspective many times of being a pastor, someone comes in a relationship, that's like their tightest thing.
Yeah.
That's their thing, man. You can touch everything else, but that's my thing.
Yeah.
And so when you start to see people and you say, look, well, this is what I think you should do, focus on you and Jesus for a period of time. And like we've always said, get to know Christ, to get to know yourself, to get to know someone else. Because what some people do is they'll talk to someone and say, yeah, I love you with all of my heart and I'm this. But they themselves don't know themselves. They don't know who they are yet. Because you really don't know who you are until you get to know the source.
Yeah.
And so you get to know God, then you start to realize who you really are.
Yeah.
You get to know your own identity.
Yeah.
Because some people they don't know who they are. They're trying to, because they don't know who they are. They're trying to be Beyonce,
Yeah.
or they're trying to be Kardashian. People that do that because they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
When you don't know who you are, you're looking for an identity, so you latch on
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah.
And so what, so I'm explaining. So that's come in, get to know Jesus, get to know yourself, then get to know that person. So you're able then to say, okay, let's go back to scratch. Let's build some healthy relationships first in the church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing, because when couples come in, no one likes to get in between the couple.
Yeah.
So
awkward.
It's awkward. Yeah.
It's a conversation you don't really, it's necessary,
Yeah.
but you don't want to.
Interject yourself.
So,
don't wanna
so what
get
happens is
rejected.
the guy never really builds any brethren, and the lady never has any sistren.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like that word, sistren. And so then they're like a little clique.
Yeah, them two against everyone else.
And everybody else, and then you get married and you realize, hold up, I need some other people.
Yeah, need the support.
And then you feel lonely, and the guy's usually not accountable to anybody, so he's just making so many mistakes.
Yeah.
And also the woman is kind of looking to him to be everything.
Yeah.
And so she's so frustrated. He's not her girlfriend. He doesn't want to look through hair magazines with her
Yeah.
and do all of this stuff,
Yeah.
because you should have allowed them to separate, build some healthy relationship with God, with some brothers and sisters in the church, assess when you're at, what do you really want,
Yeah.
and then say, okay, we do want this, our love is real, and then move on from there. But what I've said all of that to say this: at that point, when you say, okay, look, let's put this on pause, in your hearts, you kind of would say, yeah, we do want each other, but we're just putting it on pause.
Yeah.
But is there a fear there?
Yeah. 100%. I was extremely scared because I'd been with him for nearly 6 years.
Yeah.
So I think I got saved the month that it was about to be 6 years.
Okay.
So this is all I know, especially going into your 20s.
Yeah.
And obviously, like I said before, I'd been in church before. So I was like, okay, this is too much too soon. I'm losing my boyfriend and I'm in a new church with new people. Like, this is a lot. But I think because I wanted God so much, it kind of put the fire out on the fear. So every time I got scared, it was like, okay, no, this is for Jesus.
Okay.
This is for me. Because I remember when I spoke to you, I remember it when we was in the building and we were sitting in the pew and you said to me, now that you and Adrian have separated, right now it's going to be you're here because it's 90% Adrian, 10% Jesus. Then the longer you be here, it'll be like 40% Adrian, 60% Jesus. And it's going to get to the point where it's 100% Jesus. And once you know Jesus, then you'll know yourself and then you're ready.
Yeah.
So I think also having the support of you and your wife around us all the time and me being able to call you up. I used to call you up at stupid times, like 11 p.m, 1 a.m, Pastor, I don't know what I'm going to do. Sister France, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I think even though there was a fear, there was a support system at the same time, and that helped a lot for me.
Yeah.
For me, I wanted to do things righteous because you had explained to me, what the next steps was for me. So I got saved now. I've got this girl here, but want to take things to the next level. But what's the next level? For me, I know I did not want to get married. I just didn't want to get married.
Yeah.
Didn't mind the dating thing.
Yeah.
Because if I think, as long as you know about it, Jesus knows about it, calm.
Yeah.
But the marriage was a no-go for me. I was like,
But it's not something that's really big in our culture, is it?
It's not.
Let's keep it real. I mean, there's not many guys that I've ever met that have come into our type of church, from our type of background, that were like, I've just got saved, Pastor. Let me show you my plan, my game plan. I can't wait to have this wedding, and I've been dreaming about this car. Most guys, they're not thinking about that. That's like maybe when I'm 50, 60. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but it really is something that will happen when I'm an older guy. That's how you're thinking in the world. Then you come in. But I think that what you've said, and in my experience, when there is that break, it really is the woman that feels it more.
Yeah.
She feels it more. She's more, the guy's like, yeah, all right, I'm going for Jesus now. The woman is like, yeah, I'm going for Jesus, but what about if he goes off? What if someone else comes in? And that's what you have to wrestle with.
Yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult because I know that before me and Adrian came to church, we'd already made a plan for our life.
Yeah.
So it was, we were never going to get married.
Yeah.
We were going to cohabitate and have kids.
Yeah.
So that was, do you remember? That was our plan. It was like, we're never getting married. We're just going to live together and do everything without a ring. And then...
Well, we forgive you because you probably made that plan up.
When I was like,
told the council that your mum
16,
kicked you out.
17, yeah.
Like,
tell the council, yeah.
So
your boyfriend bleed you up.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when we came to church, it wasn't in my mind, when we had that conversation about splitting up, in my mind, it wasn't, oh, but I want him back so I can get married. It was, I want my boyfriend because there's other women in here.
Yeah.
And what if he likes them and maybe I'm not godly enough for him. And it's almost like the factors of what a man wants from a woman changed.
Yeah.
Whereas when we weren't saved, it was like, she has to look a certain way and she has to be a certain way. When in church, I'd be like, okay, let me just get there 15 minutes earlier so that he sees me praying. Yeah. Kind of thing. So yeah, I think for me, the struggle, even though I was ready to go for Jesus, that attachment was really, really difficult.
Okay,
really, it was hard.
Yeah. So looking back now, do you see the process of you giving God your idol?
Yeah.
And would you say then, from the woman's perspective, is that it's a good process? Well, we know you say it was good, but would you say it's good because it kind of rebalances the relationship? That this guy's not, from now on, he's not my idol. Yeah,
I think, exactly that, because obviously there was other people in the church. So there was other women that I started building relationships with. So it's like Adrian didn't get all of my time anymore. Yeah. And I wasn't on the phone to Adrian all the time. And I wasn't like, okay, Adrian, let's go get food. It was, Joanna, what you doing? Joanna, where you going? Nadine, where are you? Yeah. Jade, where you going? That's what it was. So the person that I had put on this pedestal, it was almost like he was moving more and more out of my rearview mirror. He wasn't the first thing on my mind. Yeah. So, 100% he was...
And so some guys, they may, not understand that. They and you always say insecure men like to be, not say you was, but insecure men want to be that woman's everything and her whole life is built around him. But what you don't realize is if you are her everything, when she gets married, if she's made you a god, she expects you to be a god. And when she sees imperfection, she's going to nag the life out of you, man. Because they say, whoever you deify, later on you demonize. And that's what you find. True. He's my man, he's everything, he's this, he's that. Okay, no problem.
Gets it wrong.
Wait till you get married to him and he leaves his underpants on the floor. Now you're like, he's a waste man, dog, no good. And you're giving it all that. And so when you are willing to say, no, he's, he is what he is, but he's not. I can live with or without. If I have God, I can live with you or without you. I'd rather live with you, but I can survive without you. Yeah. So, okay. So, then you guys basically start dating again. What was the point?
No, we didn't actually date. We didn't get to that.
So you just got married?
No. We were meant to start dating.
But you did start dating at one point.
Yeah, but this is years later. Remember, she went to Bristol.
To Bristol, yes.
So after we'd met up. Yeah. You took us to the infamous Nando's
in Tooting.
And you said, "Look, guys, what's the plan?"
And we were like, "Yeah, we want to start.
Let's do this thing." I said, "I want to date her." I was like, "Alright, cool."
Wait, can I just pause? When I got saved, I remember I just applied for uni, and I got into uni. So when I got saved, I had 3 months, and then I had to go to Bristol. So when I was in Bristol, I was there for a year, but I wasn't there. I was always in London. And then the second year, I had to stay in Bristol because I signed a tenancy. Okay. And that's when we had the conversation.
Is it?
Yeah, that's when we had the conversation the year after about us dating. And we were like,
So how long would you have been saved at that point?
A year and a
so
bit.
So basically, you've come in, you've got saved, you've put this thing on pause.
Yep.
after about a year of salvation, you said, let's roll.
Yeah.
Let's do this. I want a date now.
Yeah.
You have the conversation with me, but you're going to go back to Bristol.
But I can't come back as regularly because
Yeah.
I didn't get into my second year and I had to
Yeah.
work. So I was working in Bristol.
Yeah.
And I think after we had that conversation, because I wasn't able to get back to what I was used to, so to my church or with people that I know or being at church regularly and stuff like that, I kind of lost my head.
Yeah.
For,
Well, it fell off,
the amount
didn't
of
it?
time.
It fell off.
Rolled down the street.
It fell off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. It kind of
Yeah.
fell off. I remember you coming back and just seeing you one day, and I was like, my days, that woman is not the same.
Not the same
That
at all.
woman is not the same,
Nope.
man. And so that really is a thing of how important church is.
Yeah.
Especially when you're young in the Lord.
Yeah.
How important church is.
You've got to know that for yourself.
Yeah.
Because I don't think everyone would have the same experience if they went to Bristol. But it's definitely easier to just be like, forget it. God's only in London.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there was a
you've only
church.
got
There
your
was a church in
accountability.
Bristol. It just you didn't feel it.
It wasn't my home.
Yeah, you didn't
It
feel
wasn't
it.
my home.
Yeah.
But I think that's a part of maturity as well. Because whether I felt that was my home or not, I should have known in myself. Or I think being older, if I was older, I would have known I need to find a church whilst I'm here regardless.
So, okay. So it fell off a little bit. Things go on pause again.
Yep.
Yeah. When do we finally get when you get the revelation
Yeah.
that no. Because okay, let me just say this. So you start dating, she goes to Bristol.
No, we didn't start dating. Then she went to Bristol.
Okay. But you was thinking of
was
starting
about
to
to
date.
start dating.
It was
Yeah.
about start dating, but she goes to Bristol. You start to see this is I remember you speaking to me, Pastor, she's not the same Tara. She's not on it the way she was.
Yeah.
At that point you're like,
I was mad confused because I was like, rah, this girl, I've known her for so long, but the girl that she has become now, or that I'm seeing, maybe it was because I was saved, but I was literally seeing someone different, and I was like, nah, like this is dead, and I was in confusion, but I was having such a good time in my salvation that took all of my energy, all of my time, going on impact teams. In Bible study, in ministry, that I kind of made that, my go-to.
yeah.
But as soon as those things kind of slow down, it will remind me again, like, raw. And that's when I started to pray for her. And I thought, you know what? I'm not praying for her, for us to get together. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pray for her to get saved.
Yeah.
I'm going to pray for her soul.
Yeah.
Because I knew about her and I cared about her at the time. So, yeah. Probably a few years, I'm not sure how long after, she came back. And when she came back, you could just see it was different, but she was still doing her stuff. So she was probably, I don't know if you want to speak about that.
Because I came and picked you
came
up,
up,
didn't
yeah,
I?
yeah.
Me and Kyle.
I literally called you and
Was
I
it
was
me
like,
and
Pastor, I
someone
need
else?
out.
Yao?
You, Carl and Yao.
Yeah, we drove to
I
Bristol
need out.
and we picked up all your
stuff.
belongings and all the stuff and brought you back to London.
Yeah, I remember I called you and I was like, Pastor, I can't do this no more. And I moved out, I think, 3 or 4 months before my tenancy ended. And I was like, I just need to get out. If I don't get out now, that's it for me. I remember that. That was yeah, not good. Not
Okay.
good. Yeah.
And so you're back in London.
Yeah.
You start to get back into things
Yeah.
spiritually, edified, get back to where you should be.
Yeah.
You're seeing that, and then this
When she comes down and we're not speaking, we haven't spoken for about a year or so.
From when yeah.
She changed her number, everything. We just did not have any contact.
Completely.
Yes, I
hated him.
remember this. I
Completely
remember this.
hated
Just
him.
did not like
Yeah.
each other.
He was going to my mum's. I was like, Mum,
Yeah.
why is he there?
Yeah, I remember that season, and that's when you'd call me and you'd be like, yeah, why is he there?
Yeah.
Why is he with her?
Yeah.
Why is he
All the time.
And so why this is going on. So let's get to the point where you realize now I want to date this woman.
Let's say 7-8 months after she'd moved back down to London, I had seen a change. In the last couple of months, I seen a change. Now we had spoken. She just got a car don't know
What,
how
the
long.
Black Peugeot?
Yeah.
The black
The little 2 O's.
Oh, I remember that Black Peugeot.
And I was like, you know what, man? If I needed a lift somewhere, I'd be like, yo, Tara, I beg you drop me. I beg you drop me. We wouldn't really talk, but I'm like, yo, here and there.
He's sneaking in the back door.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
But then again, on a service, I'd see her praying. I see her at prayer. I'd be like, right, she came. She's early. I'll see her worshiping, lifting her hands in worship. And these things attracted me. Once again, it was like, right, my eyes opened. It was like, you know, she was the same girl, but I'm like, before, weren't on it. Now I'm like, right, okay, we're older. We're both, looks like we're maturing.
How just give us a reference. How long would you have been saved at that point then?
So including from 2009?
Yeah, from when you were saved to this point that we're talking about.
That was 2 years.
So about 3
I came
years.
Back, no, 2.
Is it?
Yeah, because I came back in 2011.
Closer to the mic.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
2009 to 2011. So 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
So it's it's not a long time,
really.
but that is some people. You know, people that are listening to this podcast and they're in the same. You know, I came to church with somebody and it's like, are you willing to allow this 2-year process? Like if someone comes in with their girlfriend now and I say, bro, just give it 2 years. The eyes, what? 2 years?
Yeah, even I would have done that, to be fair.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's good for us to see
Yeah.
that, because people are going to look at you now and be like, oh, look, they're married now, they're happy now, oh, they knew each other before. It was just like a fairy tale. You know, you climbed up the top of the ladder and you slid in.
Not at all.
So
about 2011,
Yeah.
so you're seeing a change and then you're like, yeah, I want to date this girl.
I speak to you.
Yeah.
You're like, bro, why? So what do you mean, why? Bro, look, I'm
Back
not on
then
no...
I was OG.
Yeah, you was
Back
like,
then I was
look, I'm not on no
OG.
play thing.
I was OG.
Tara needs to know God. And so do you. Go learn to play the drums.
Back then it would have been OG disciple.
Yeah.
So
Now
I said, look,
real disciple.
you took me to the back. We was in Jasmine's. You took me to the back, and you was like, bro, why? I want to know why you want to date her now. What's so different? I said, Pastor, I believe that we've both grown in maturity and we've both grown in Christ. I'm doing this, she's doing that. I believe we can try. I said, the only one thing I have, the worry that I have is, what if she backslides? And you was like, what? If that's your problem, then you could backslide as well. You said, we can all backslide. We can all backslide at any time. That's your problem. I was like, yeah, but what if she backslides when we're married or when we're dating? He was like, bro, if you want to date her. That can't be a worry that if she backslides. So after that, I prayed on it, kind of pondered
Thank
on
God
it.
you didn't backslide.
Do you know what I mean?
Prayed
It
on
would have
it.
been like, in the South London press. Pastor told me, who cares if you backslide? And my wife backslide. Yeah. So
I
you
prayed
prayed
on
on
it.
it.
I thought on it about, for a few weeks. And then I told you I wanted to date.
Yeah.
So this is probably towards the end.
Of the year.
Yeah, probably towards the end of the year.
And so the interesting thing to note at this point, nobody's dated yet.
No
in our
one's
church.
dated.
No one's got
no
married
one's talking
yet.
about it really.
Nobody really.
This is
I mean,
end of 2011.
we
Conference.
had Carl and Kenny on there. They're like,
Marry man.
that was my circle
Yeah.
in church.
so that
we
they're
was
not
totally against it.
So they're against it, and no one's dated, no one's got married yet. So really, you guys are like the couple, the drama couple, the only couple that is. Are they dating? Are they not?
Yeah.
That's no. That's Adrian's.
Yeah.
That's Tara's. Okay, and so
Blacklisted.
That's literally what we used to
It
say.
was blacklisted.
Yeah.
blacklisted, and so so you start dating,
Yeah.
and how long did you date for?
2012.
9 months.
9 months.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you got married.
2013. So it was 9 months dating, 9 months engaged.
Okay, and so I think you got married
May.
2013.
13. Okay, was that the year after Brandon?
Yes.
Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
year after. Brandon was the first, wasn't it? And it was Roger, I
Yeah.
think, and then it was you and Anthony.
Yeah.
Was it you?
Me and Adrian and then Anthony and Nadine.
Yeah,
I
got
think
the same year.
3 months after us. Yeah.
Yeah,
August.
same year. And then the next year,
That's
It was
when
like bam,
it
bam,
went,
bam,
it
bam,
went
bam,
like
bam.
10.
Yeah.
You know, not 10, but quite a few, 7, 8 people got married.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Okay, and so, so this whole thing's taken over 3 years. From coming into church and God really starting to move on your life.
Yeah.
And taking you through these battles and taking you through this season of your life.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And maturing you. And when you look back now, you what do you, I mean, imagine if you...
If I was to tell someone 3 years, they'll probably think, oh, you lot tried 3 years. But I said, nah, I tried to focus on God. During that time, these things happen. My aim wasn't to get married. My aim wasn't to date.
Yeah.
My aim was just to focus. As I said, at that time, we're making up music. We're just trying to, you're pioneering.
Yeah.
We're the sheep.
Yeah.
We're like trying new things. We're doing concerts every month.
Yeah.
We're going outreach every Saturday.
Yeah.
We're going street preaching. We're going door to door. Like our day was filled
Yeah.
with godly things.
Yeah, that's right.
Like filled. So the 3 years didn't seem like a 3 year thing. It was just like it happened.
Yeah.
Because she was about God's business.
Yeah, you're busy.
what it
You're
was.
busy doing. You're not just sitting there.
No.
Twiddling thumbs or just coming church twice a week.
When will I get married? When
Yeah.
will I get
Yeah.
married?
No, it wasn't the focus.
We were in everything, every impact team, every outreach. It was almost like, why aren't you at impact team? Like, I remember me and Joanna would not sleep. So on the Friday, we stay up after Bible study. We stay up all night, write 2 or 3 songs for the impact team the next day.
Yeah.
And then just be gassed and then be practicing it in your car when you're driving us up there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
And get up and perform with your Blackberries.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, literally like this. But it wasn't. It was never 3 years of, or 3.5 years of, oh my gosh, I wonder what he's doing now. I wonder, okay, we've only got 3 years left. We've only got 2.5 years left. It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
We made sure we were busy.
Okay.
And yeah.
Very good. So, so we said 5.5 years have been married now.
6 years in May.
6 years. 6 years in May. And so, being one of the first real couples to get married. So when you got married, there wasn't that many couples
No.
to really talk about marriage and all of that. And so now, being married for that amount of time, what are some of the ups and downs? What would you say is the thing? Not the ups and downs. No, that's the wrong question. What would you say is the thing that you've had to learn that you would say? Yeah, that's the one thing you say. Yeah. And now I've learnt that it's made things smoother, but it took me a while to learn it.
I feel like there's 2 things for me personally. Love. I've had to learn how to love.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn humility. Those 2 things in marriage. If you ain't got those 2, you're just going to crumble and fail at it. And because you haven't got any humility, you won't want to repair it.
Yeah.
Because you haven't got love for God, you're not going to want to love your wife. So for me, those 2 things, I believe, have been pivotal in my marriage. And I've had to learn those things. We got married, and marriage was different from our relationship in the world. Completely different. Completely different. We went from seeing each other every day, but I'm living at my mum, she living at her mum, she lives in Peckham, I live in Junction. If we have an argument, I'm gone. Go to my yard.
Yeah.
We've gone from now, the day after we get married, annoying, sleep in the same bed. Okay, so now what happens? You have to work it out.
Yeah. You get up in the morning, they're still there.
Yeah.
They're still there.
But
100%.
So love, humility, very good. I mean, they're real. That's the fruit of the spirit, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the fruit of the spirit. And then you, Tara.
His sounded very spiritual, which is good.
Yeah.
Because it's true. For me, it was communication. I don't come from a background where we communicate well. So, and especially because before I was always around boys. So it was almost like I was like Mandem. So when we would argue, I'd speak to him like he was like one of my boys. I'd be like, are you dumb? Like, are you stupid?
Yeah.
which I actually liked for some strange reason.
And
What, when you was dating?
No, like back in the day.
yeah, no one we got married, he hated it.
Yeah,
He hated it.
Back in the day.
Yeah, so communication was a big thing for me because it's there wasn't the respect, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the second thing was love, like what he said, actually love, because for the first few years I was getting it wrong, man. I didn't understand the concept of love when it comes to someone that you're with. And it's almost like the person that, I think you said it in one of your sermons, the person that you're married to is almost like they're holding a mirror.
Yeah.
And you're seeing all your not like your imperfections.
Yeah.
So I'm getting more angry, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because so communication and love.
Communication and love. Okay. And so here you are, you're a couple in church, you're coming to everything. I mean, you guys literally never miss church.
It was in ministry.
Yeah, so I mean, when we have prayer meeting, you was at every prayer meeting, you was at every Wednesday, every Sunday, every Saturday outreach. I mean, you really are faithful. One of the faithful, like yourself, Kenny, Carl, Joanna, Nadine, Anthony, Brandon, as it goes on. That crop of people that are at everything.
Yeah.
Faithful. You've come up in that. And so what happened? So I remember you coming to me a few years ago and you speaking to me and just thinking like, this is difficult.
Yeah.
Almost like, I don't know how I can continue in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is how you felt.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
And you came to me and we had a conversation and you was like, Pastor, I just don't know how I can continue in this.
Yeah.
And I remember speaking to you, we were talking, and what I realized is that even though you're in ministry and you're giving and you're attending everything, there wasn't almost, because you was in praise and worship at the time. You was the leader,
Yeah.
praise and worship leader, and so you're singing in praise and worship. You're the praise and worship leader, but in your home. And no one's sinning.
Yeah.
No one's on crack.
There was just tension.
Yeah, no one's on crack.
Yeah.
No one's looking at pornography. Nothing like that. But it was almost like the tension had built up.
Yeah.
And we're so busy going to church, we're not actually fellowshipping with Jesus, though.
Yeah.
It's like we've lost
That's
Jesus in the busyness of church.
Yeah.
And I remember speaking to you guys and talking to you about praying and Bible and that, and it was almost like it fizzled out.
Yeah.
And so it really is a thing that people can be coming to a church, but and they can be involved in a ministry, but they're actually not feeding their own soul.
Yeah. 100%.
It becomes a formality. This would be for both of us. Me became a formality. I was praise and worship leader, so I knew I had a job to do. I knew I had to be faithful. I knew that people were looking at me, so I had to show them what they needed to see.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, my relationship with God it was strained. It was like there were certain things that was happening outside with my work and Tara's health, things that I couldn't do or help physically that needed that spiritual touch. But because I couldn't get to it, it was just like, it's frustrating. And that took a toll on our relationship. That's where it began. And that's where it started. That's where our marriage started to go downhill.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, like what you said, it was the formalities. Like, I know this is what I'm meant to do. I still love God, but I know that, like even just after we got married, I think we got married on the Sunday and on Monday we came to drama and you was like, go home. Like, what are you doing? Go home. What are you doing here? So we were so on job with being at church, but we weren't feeding ourselves spiritually at home. And like what he said, like with my health went downhill. I was missing church all the time. And I think at one point when I was coming to church, that was kind of like the only time I was praying. So for me to now be sick and then not come into church, it's like, okay, there's no time for praying. It's almost like, I know there's a lot of people that probably deal with health and stuff like that. So when you're at home, that's when you need to be in your word more, like contending, having faith that God is going to bring you through.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that. And then I think I began to be angry with him because he'd be like, what, you're not coming to church today? All right, cool. and then he'd just walk out. And then I was just like, what kind of, like, this is mad. Like, this is actually crazy. But yeah, like my relationship with God was extremely strained because I was like, God, is this my life? Like, I'm at home all the time, going on, what did we have back in the day? Is it Instagram or whatever it is, Snapchat, and seeing everybody having a fun time, seeing Adrian run and joke with his people whilst I'm sitting in bed in pain, if that makes sense. So yeah, God wasn't at all a factor in our household.
Yeah, I think, and so the danger is that you think just coming to church is enough.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not enough.
No, I never thought that.
Yeah.
As I said, I was only doing it because I was in a certain position.
Yeah.
And I was doing this for the people that are looking to me in that position.
Okay.
I knew I wasn't doing enough. But again, I just couldn't fight anymore. I'd been too busy, and my main concern was the marriage. But because I wasn't fighting anymore, I wasn't fighting to get more of Jesus. I was just allowing things to happen.
Yeah.
But I think that's where the difference is, though, because for me, coming to church was enough.
Yeah.
It got to the point where I pray at church. I pray, we have an hour, and I wouldn't even use the whole hour. So I'd pray for like 5 or 10 minutes, tick off the Bible app, and do what the 4 verses that it gives me. And that was good for me. And that's what it became. So for me, it was coming to church is enough. I'm at praise and worship. I'm at prayer meeting. I'm on Wednesday and Sundays. I'm at outreach. That was it for me. I was like, I've done what I need to do. I've ticked all the boxes. Yeah. So that's where we're probably different.
And so if you know, and so from my perspective as the pastor, I think sometimes pastoring, you can assume that because everybody's coming to everything, they're doing good. I mean, it sounds
but you can
juvenile.
Only judge what you see.
You judge what you see. Yeah. So you see that. And then when you spoke to me and you was like, Pastor, I don't know, I just don't know what to do anymore. Yeah. I'm at my wit's end. And that was like the revelation to me. Wow. And then when we started to meet up and we said, okay, let's do this thing at your house where we're going to basically do this thing, Bible workout, growth tools / type of thing.
Yeah.
And we got some couples to come and join us. And in that, I really started to see, as we were going through the word, reading the word, it was almost like a balloon that had, like an inflatable something that had kind of, deflated a bit. Each time we were coming,
being pumped up
it was being pumped up again.
Yeah.
That not just coming to church, but as you guys were spending time in the word, thinking about the word, meditating on the word, praying over the word, it's like you came alive.
Yeah.
It was definitely a help. It was like let's say, as you said, the air was like a motivational energy back into the relationship.
Yeah.
That energy then motivated us to do prayer, or at least speak to each other with no
animosity.
Yeah. Or just forgive each other.
Yeah.
So every time we had a Bible workout, or we had a prayer meeting, or whatever it was, it spurred something up in us. It sparked something. And it just goes to show that these support groups, these connect groups, Bible studies, friends, follow up, it helps. It helps you definitely, because you're not alone, for one, and 2, it's accountability. I mean, there was another 6 people in the room when we're doing these things, and we're saying, okay, bounce off of that, and we can see that, and okay, I want to do this, but I'll do that, and it helps.
I think it's good. It's very good, actually, should I say? Because obviously when you said that we're going to start doing this at our house, I think that I remember you came to the house and you was like, okay, so what are you guys saying? Where are you guys' relationship at? And I was like, I want a divorce. I want out. I want out. I was like, Pastor, I remember I said to you, I was like, I'm not ugly. I can definitely get someone else. I have no kids. All I need to do is drop a bit of weight. I'm good. I can find someone. And I literally told myself this. And I remember when you said, all right, do you know what? I remember you said to me, okay, do you believe in the word of God? Do you believe this? Do you believe that? Okay, so then how can you say you want a divorce? And I think because I'd kind of given it up, I was like, I am so done. I'd already planned my future without him. When you said to us, okay, let's start doing this thing in your house, I was quite reserved. Adrian was like, yeah, like I'll do it. And I was just like, okay, whatever. So the first one that we had, I was like, I remember we weren't talking, and I was like, I don't want no one in my house. I don't want no one's kids in my house. I just want to be on my own. And I think by you guys coming in, it forced me to open up. I couldn't be comfortable in my shell anymore. And because I wasn't reading or praying, this was it started at 7. We wouldn't really leave at 9. So it was always constantly conversation and going into the words. And I think we would do like one chapter, but going through that one chapter and actually studying it, I was like, if this man can do this, there has to be something that happens here. So like what you said, it was like a balloon that was just about at its last, it had a last bit of air, and that growth tools, or whatever you want to name it, Connect Group just pumped it up, man. Like, that's what Save does.
Yeah, because I remember, I don't know if it was before or after, I just remember I was in the room and I phoned you. I was like, Pastor, I want a divorce.
We were in the same room, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, look, I've had enough of this. I'm keeping house. You go back to your mother. You take everything else. Pastor, you just said.
You was in the room whilst we was on the phone.
Yeah. We was probably in front of each other.
This is silly.
And before this, we had never spoken about divorce.
Yeah.
Like, I've never thought about divorce. But something in me was like, no, you don't need this.
Yeah.
You don't need this. And it was like, saying that, I felt a relief, but I also felt, what am I doing? It's some joke, man. Have I spent these years being a Christian, getting married, to turn around and say, oh, well, the only reason why I got married is because I'm saved. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
So now, am I going to give all of that up because, like, it didn't make sense? But when you spoke to me, something resonated, and it was just a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing. I think if anyone's got problems in their marriages, a lot of the time it goes back to spirituality.
Yeah.
What you think? What's happening here is there's a lie coming into your mind where you, like what Tara said, you start to plan your life without your spouse.
Yeah.
That is a lie, because there are people that are married with kids.
Yeah.
And they're doing it. They're like, yeah, hold up, that's a lie.
Yeah.
How is it going to be better for you?
Yeah.
Because now someone's going to bring up your kids. How are you going to deal with that?
Yeah.
You split, and then now your son or your daughter that you love, they're going to be calling someone else mom or someone else dad, or you're not thinking like that.
Yeah.
But it's this lie. Here's a legitimate struggle, and the Bible says the devil is the father of lies, and the power of a lie is really in its believableness. So if I can make you believe right now, you know what, you have no money in your bank account, and you could be a millionaire. The reality could be you're a millionaire. But if I can make you believe you got no money in your bank account, that's how you're going to live your life. You're going to be like, oh my days, let me hitchhike. Let me beg for some money. And that's what the devil does. He comes with a lie.
Yeah.
And so I think this is one of the reasons why, first thing, he wants to separate you from the word, because the word of God is truth.
Yeah.
Next, he wants to separate you from prayer, so you can't discern. There's no spiritual discernment. There's no filter in these thoughts, because we all have mad thoughts.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to bring them to. So now you're by yourself. The devil has isolated you, and this lie is building momentum. And now it's starting to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because now you're like, I don't need to be in here. So your husband or your wife comes home, and that's how you're acting. I don't have to be in here. So they're like, I don't have to be in here. So you're making the marriage worse by now living out this lie you started to believe. And so this is kind of where you guys were at.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you said that you weren't even into it after, because for the first one, because I remember my wife telling me that you would call her after we'd started and be like, when's the next one?
Yeah. Yeah.
After we'd been doing it for about 3-4 months, it was you. My wife was like, Tara is the most enthusiastic about them. When are we doing the next one?
Yeah.
And so, what happened with you? What started to happen with you and the word that shifted?
Well, I was in the word. That was the main thing. I think because, like what you said, the enemy pushes his lies. Because I was opening my Bible, I was opening the Word of God, and do you know what? Even more so, I was. It's going to sound silly, but obviously everyone has a Bible app on their phone. So it's almost like, let me just tick off the little verses that I need today. I wasn't in the word when I was doing that. But being in that connect group and you showing us how you studied the Bible, like literally after the first verse we're explaining and bouncing our thoughts off of each other for every single verse. I had no way not to receive the word, if that made sense. You could put someone in there that didn't want to be there. The amount of word that we was going through, they're going to be touched by it. And I think I started to believe in God's promises again. Because I was like, and it's something that you said to me actually, because I was like, how are these people in the Bible? Why have I never realized this in the Bible before? And you said, because you're looking at it like they're characters. These are real people. These are real disciples, people that have really, really pushed through and really believed in God. And when I saw that and the sacrifices that they were making, I was like, no, but I've got the same power in me that they have. So that's what pushed me, and that's what kind of made the change. Because what was it? Every other Friday, Friday, and we had the WhatsApp group. And we were literally constantly encouraging each other. So that was the change. I was in the word. The word was around me, whether I liked it or not. And even like I said at the beginning, not liking it. Obviously, me and Adrian still weren't really talking, but I'd wake up in the morning to him praying over me, like literally just holding me, like, and praying, or coming in the front room and seeing him reading his Bible. And I'm like, he doesn't normally do that. So it's all these things that started to kind of change, and it became a catalyst. And I was like, when's the next one? When's the next one? What are we doing next?
Yeah, so with that, it came to a point, I think just before, I'm not sure how long before, but it came to a point when I was like, I've got to fight for this. I can't fight physically because I don't want to get arrested. So let me fight spiritually. So I cried out to God. I was like, God, look, I want this marriage to work. I didn't get married for a season. I got married for forever. I can't do nothing. So God, I'm just going to ask that you would repair this marriage, repair me in the time. Let me be the man, the leader that she needs. And in that time, let her receive what I'm doing. And that was my prayer for a few months. So at the same time, she's sick. Doctors don't know what's wrong with her, but they're giving us scenarios. Oh, it could be cancer, or it could be infertility. We don't know this. We don't know that. And I'm like, and it's referring us to specialists that are saying we're going to give an answer, and they still can't give an answer. So I'm like, God, you're the only one that can give us an answer. In fact, I don't want an answer. I just want you to heal her. After all of this, I'm still praying, but we're still not getting along. And then one day she came to me, and this is about months after. So we've done, I think, did we finish?
We just finished the Connect group.
Just finished it. And she came to me. We were just chilling.
Down,
We're sitting in the front room, innit? And she said, babe, we're getting on.
The fact is that I said, babe. That wasn't even in my lingo.
And I didn't know how to respond.
I thought you were going to say, I didn't know what that meant.
That wasn't my lingo, especially when you go from hating someone so much.
And I was like, and then she said to me, when did this happen or something like that? And I was like, do you know what it is, babe? I think since I've gone to God and he's done everything, because to your own admission, you said you hadn't done anything to help the marriage.
I didn't.
She hadn't done nothing.
Didn't want it.
So all the efforts that I've been making in the prayer, she said I was getting up before her, and she would just find me praying over her, and then she'd be like, roll over.
Turn over.
And I'll just continue doing it. Get out of her, you devil.
No,
you demon.
Why are you doing? Chat rubbish.
I was praying for her, and then I'd go seek God on my own for the both of us. And he came through, he prevailed. And I just thank God.
And so sometimes people come together and they've got some sort of romantic attraction,
Yeah.
and they think that will carry them. And then you start to put that relationship
Yeah.
before God,
Yeah.
and then it runs out. And what we see is, no. When you come back to God,
Yeah.
you realize that romance and that love and that agape
And
comes back,
Yeah.
And the friendship,
and the friendship.
because our relationship was never built on a friendship. Because we knew each other before, it was
Yeah.
built on pure attraction.
Yeah,
We had to really start again.
yeah,
I think one thing I said, a lot of people, like we said before, I didn't want to get married, and you said 50 or 60. But the fact that you said that, it's like people see marriage, or men see marriage, I would say, as the end of your life.
yeah,
Whereas I start to see it as it's a new beginning.
yeah, definitely.
Just as I saw me getting saved, coming to this particular church, small, it was a new beginning for me. This marriage now, it's a newness. There was a newness about it. The fact that we've got a friendship, like that's my best friend. I can say that she's my best friend. We're probably the most vulnerable with each other.
Yeah,
I've got a love for her that I haven't got for no one else. I'll do things for her that I wouldn't do for people. Again, all of these things I've had to learn. It didn't just come. We're in our 5th year of marriage, and it definitely wasn't there in the first year.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That was like my worst year.
No, the fourth was
In
the
life.
worst, and the first
the
the fourth and the first was woo.
touch and go.
Yeah.
But you prevailed.
Yeah.
Again, go back
Jesus.
to the support. First year of marriage, there was no one married. I didn't want to go back to you and be like, "Raw, I'm failing at this."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, maybe just ride it. Something should happen.
But that's what the problem is that when you get married, you feel like you can't speak to people. Do you know what I'm saying? So in the first year, I remember when we first got married, I would call Pastor all the time. And then after I would stop because I was like, it's not that I said it, because I'll always come to you. But it was almost like, okay, stop going to him now. Stop going to him. And then it's almost like you get into your head, then you start believing the lies.
Yeah.
So I think the same thing that happened in the first year happened in the fourth, but it was just because we didn't have, remember when we first got married, we had our own personal relationships with Jesus. So that was still kind of like the anchor in our marriage, whereas in the fourth year, that wasn't there. And that's why we were pushed to such a degree.
and so really and truly, what we're saying is you this is why, if there are people that are coming to church right now, but they're not involved,
Yeah.
they're not reading their Bibles with others, they're not being discipled. Because really, that's kind of what was happening there. That was when they're not being discipled. They're just coming to church. It's not going to hold you, man.
Never.
It's not going to hold you. Not in the long run. You may look good now, but there's a battle coming.
Yeah.
And when that battle comes, you're going to realize that God put you in a church,
Yeah.
an ecclesia, a body of people for a reason.
Yeah.
I think people have different focuses. If you're focusing on, as I said, if you're focused on the marriage,
Yeah,
it's the wrong thing to be focusing on. Especially if you've been saved a year or two, I mean, that's nothing. I look back and I'll be like, right, 2 years, no way. I did not think of marriage at all. That year should have been pivotal in knowing Jesus, studying the Word,
yeah,
knowing Jesus for yourself, not for anyone else
yeah,
or your circle or whatever you want. Not for debating. Just you get to know Jesus for your soul. Just ensure that your soul, when you die, you're gonna go to heaven. Go out there in your area, in your job, college, uni, school, tell people that you're Christian. So you've blacklisted yourself now. So if anyone sees you doing anything, they're like, "Rah, I thought you was a," and then
go on record.
yeah.
I think also you need to have other people that are in your situation. So like you said, when we first got married, it was really only Brandon and Elizabeth and Roger and Edwina. But Roger and Edwina were much older than us. And we weren't friends with, we weren't close with Brandon and Elizabeth. So there wasn't so much that we would say. And I think it's in the year of 2014 where there was loads of marriages. I remember one day we was at the house and I think all the men had done like a men's outreach. So like all the ladies came to my house that had just got married.
Yeah,
And it was the first time where I sat down and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. And it wasn't like we were sitting down bashing the people that we were going through. It was like, okay, guys, I'm going through this. I need prayer. And then once that one person spoke, everybody was like, oh my gosh, same. So I think for me, or I don't know, for women, be around other women where you see they're having a successful marriage and kind of attach yourself to them and allow them to disciple you. Do you know what I mean? So you need that. Because for me, I've got your wife, Sister Francis, is forever, if there's anything, I'm on the phone to her. I've got my own selection of friends that I call up. I call Keisha. If I'm going through something, people that will give you godly advice and point you to God when you're like, I'm done. So, yeah.
That's very good. Adrian and Tara, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate that. Amen. Done.